Mexican rapper ends his career after saying this about blacks. Let's tap in.
Black community and the Hispanic community have been at odds for a long time. And with the ICE raids happening around the country, in particular in LA, black people are not ashamed to tell Latinos how they really feel. For those of them who are getting deported back to their original countries, black people are like, bye bye. But in certain parts,
is that true? Is that how we feel? From my knowledge of it, it's a lot of black people that support, you know what I'm saying, anybody, you know what I'm saying, Mexicans, Salvadorians, anybody of Latin descent who's going through this tough time, you know what I'm saying? They're not just deporting people our age, older people, you know what I'm saying? They're going after kids, parents, grandparents. They're leaving kids who were born here without their parents, you know what I'm saying? It's a shitty situation. Like, you gotta show sympathy in times like this. I don't feel like, you know what I'm saying, black people are, like, this is not something that we should be applauding our hands, because it could easily be us. You know what I'm saying?
parts of the country, blacks and Mexicans don't have a big issue. And that's like in Northern California or even in certain parts of Texas. Now, Texas does have a lot of Hispanics and a lot of blacks. But in certain partitions, blacks and Mexicans run together. Now, like I said, this is something to be seen in Northern California, like in Sacramento, where I'm from, where blacks and Mexicans typically have a close relationship. And sometimes you can get Mexicans and black gangs or vice versa. And so Mexicans can get a pass to a certain degree. And that is where we get a guy like Mexican OT. Now, if you look at Mexican OT, from what I can see from the guy, he's not like your typical Hispanic type rapper. He looks like a guy that, you know, he definitely is Mexican, but I mean, he got a grill. He seems like he got a shag. I mean, he kind of maybe raps on the same style of flow from what I can tell, like a black dude. But there's an issue. He uses the N-word. Recently, he was on the podcast with Angela Yee, and he was confronted.
It's always it's a slippery slope to some people when it comes to who can say the word, who can't say the word. My thought process on it is, you can, as a black person, you know what I'm saying, this word that we've taken back and like we took all negative connotations behind it. We use it as a term of, you can't even say really as a term of endearment, because you can sit here and say that's my nigga, but at the same in the same breath you gotta say I hate that nigga right there, or this nigga bullshit, shit like that. So we changed the term for what it was originally created for, and now we use it amongst ourselves. But now it's becoming this, like, the word isn't exclusive to us. At least we portray the word to not be exclusive to us, because there are people who say it who are not black. There are people who say it who you know what I'm saying, depending on where you grow up, depending on the people you grow up around, it becomes just naturally a part of your diction. Just a word that you say on a regular because you heard other people say it, they heard you say it, and it's never been an issue. But there's no worldwide, you know what I'm saying, no worldwide unity when it comes to us black people. We gonna make sure we the only ones saying this and nobody else saying no. It's different wherever you go, depending on who you grew up around, depending on your area. The only thing I can say is just be cautious. Be cautious who you say it around. And if I feel as though if you sound like you have no fucking business saying the word nigga, then you should be checked. I'm a person who I'm not the nigga police. I'm not about to sit here and argue with niggas on the internet about who can say what and who can't say what. But at the same time, if you're around me, I've had some Hispanic, some Mexican friends, Mexican neighbors who I was close with, you know what I'm saying? If they say nigga, they say nigga. If you sound like you're supposed to say the word, I can't explain it, but if you sound like saying the word is not, like, I shouldn't have to think about it. If the word nigga come out your mouth and I'm thinking about, did he say that? Then 9 times out of 10, you shouldn't be saying that.
About it.
Do you feel like you could say the N-word?
I feel like I can say it, but not because of that, and I'm gonna tell you why. What the are you gonna do about it?
Now, see, look, this is where I feel as though Like Mexico, he's from Texas. I currently reside in Texas, but I'm not from here. But there's just like this mutual understanding between black people and Mexicans that we're supposed to be like this. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't be surprised if he grew up saying nigga. He say it around his partners and shit like that, and they fuck with him. They don't care. But it's a way, like you gotta be respectful to the situation. That right there, that wouldn't tread lightly with me. Because he said, "What the fuck are you gonna do? Like, what you gonna do about it?" If I say nigga. It's some people out there who really be on that though. They willing to die behind, you know what I'm saying, black exclusivity, if I said that word right. It's some people out there who will, you know what I'm saying, they will take it far just to make sure that you won't ever be able to say that word ever again. So I would be cautious with saying something like that. I'm hoping that's like some type of rage bait, but at the same time, like you kind of inviting you inviting the next black person that don't know you like that to hear you say the word nigga and then stand on it with you to check you. That's what it sound like to me. It sound like you inviting that energy.
But wait, there's more.
I grew up loving these motherfuckers. I grew up fighting with them. I grew up eating with them. I grew up doing bad with them. I grew up loving with them. You know, I got family, and it's not even about family. Even if I wasn't related to nobody out black, I mean, it's what the I was surrounded by, you know.
Now, Mexican OT said, hey, the reason why I use the N-word, it's not because I'm being disrespectful. I grew up with these dudes. Like, you know, I admire these dudes. I mean, you know, I went to war with these dudes. Like, I'm from the same places that they're from, too. Now, it's interesting because, again, he does play the Mexican card, you know, the Mexican flag and all of that. But you can look at him and tell that, hey, there is some level of black influence in what he does. And the internet is divided on if he should be able to say the N-word or not.
If you are not black, you cannot use the N-word.
I feel as though if you're not black, you shouldn't be able to say who can and can't say what. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? That's like let me give a good example. Let's say there's a party for millionaires that's going on at a venue, right? You can't get in unless you're a millionaire. My nigga, I'm not even 100,000 there. But imagine me going to that party, standing outside the front, and oh, you're not a millionaire, you can't get in. Oh, you're not a millionaire, you can't get in. Not you definitely don't look like a millionaire, you can't get. Like, imagine that. I hope that analogy makes sense. I hope that's a fair comparison, because it's like, how are you as a non-black person telling non-black people what they can and can't say? That's not your job. That's not your role. It's not. Some people feel as though they're supposed to be a black defender. There's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, it gets a little tricky in situations like this because you don't speak on behalf of all black people. You don't speak for black people. There's black people who grew up with Mexicans, grew up around them, or Mexicans grew up around them, that they're so close, they're so locked in that I gave you the pass. When you around me, you can say not whatever you want to say, but you can say, as long as you're being respectful. There's people who grew up in situations like that. You know what I'm saying? So who are you to sit here and say, if you're not black, you don't need to be saying it? You're not black, so why are you policing the word? It doesn't make sense.
I'm an unambiguous Afro-Latina. I am a black woman. And if I had a cousin that looked like Mexican OT Genesis, which I have, if any of them said the N-word, I'm slapping the shit out of them on sight. No ifs, ands, or buts. I'm not even thinking twice about it. And you know why? Because that word was reclaimed by black people. Someone is telling you that something is offensive, and you were like, oh, well, what are these N-words gonna do about it? That's crazy disrespectful. I'm not mad at Cleotrapa for asking the question, because I feel like Cleotrapa is the only one in that room that had enough cojones to ask. Now, Angela Yee, this is her show. This is your show. And on top of it being your show, it's not like you're a nobody. It's not like you're not connected. So you could have easily like checked him and been like, oh, you need to get out of here. Like, we're not going to continue. The men that was with him, I find it to be equally disturbing that none of them said anything. Nobody said anything to this guy, like at all. Nah.
So there is an Afro-Latina lady who was like, hell to the no. Like, listen, this dude don't have any reason to be out here using the N-word, okay? Like, not at all. Then you have people like Azalea Banks. She says this on a tweet. No, everyone in the world can say and do what they want, and black people really have no reason to be upset about it as offensive.
This nigga can't read. No, everyone in the world can say and do what they want, but black people really have no reason to be upset about it as offensive while we run around calling each other such an ugly word. He can't read and she can't type because we can't expand our vocabulary. If we want people to let it go, we have to do so, I'm assuming, first, okay? We have to do so first. And African people do not use that word. There's some correctness to this. I don't agree with it fully, but I do understand what she's saying in terms of, you know what I'm saying? Black people have took the word and we changed it to the point where it's now socially acceptable amongst ourselves to use it. But we don't, there's some black people who don't want other people using it. And I feel as though the people that don't want other people to use it are still using the word. You're not setting a good example. If you don't want anybody to use the word, then you shouldn't use the word. You should be on that with everybody, not just other races, but other black people too. You know what I'm saying? If that's the stance you take, this word, do you know what this word derives from? And we changed it. We don't use the original creation of the word, but at the same time, you should want to do away with the word entirely. You shouldn't want yourself to say it. You shouldn't want the next nigga to look like you to say it. You shouldn't want me to say it. I'm gonna say it because I like the word nigga. I thank God I was born black because this is one of the swaggiest words you could use because you could put it in any insert here and it applies to every situation. The fuck? But I do see what she's saying.
While we run around calling each other such an ugly word because we can't expand our vocabulary. If we want people to let it go, we have to do so first. African people
All right,
on the same side as Mexican OT.
Bro, like, man, I'm tired of these motherfuckers that's not from Texas, steady speaking on Texas business, my like, everybody say down here. Everybody, especially all Hispanics, don't matter if you goddamn Puerto Rican, Dominican, Mexican, El Salvador, man, you locked in with the blacks, man. You around, see us blacks, man, we raised around Mexicans. You know what I'm saying? In every neighborhood, goddamn me, it's a couple Mexicans, goddamn, or Hispanics, motherfuckers, this on our block. So we growing up with these motherfuckers, childhood, since little boys, since little girls, you know what I'm saying? And we so locked in, y'all from up north wouldn't understand it because it ain't, I ain't gonna say it ain't no Hispanics, but it's racially divided down here. We like this, we locked in, my since middle school, high school, we getting invited to quinceañeras and tamale trucks and shit, come right through on the little.
That's one thing that I will say because I've had the is luxury the right word? I was fortunate enough I spent 18 years in New Jersey, in Camden specifically, where there's kind of like in the northeast coast, in the East Coast region, there isn't the same unity that I've seen. I've only been in Texas since 2022, a few years now. I've seen more unity amongst black people and Hispanic people, mainly black people and Mexican people out here than I've had for a majority of my life in the East Coast. You know what I'm saying? When I was in high school, you had black people and Mexican people beefing all the time. All the time. It was never like we were like locked in or like close. Like you never felt that closeness. You never looked at them as, oh, that's That's like brother from another mother, sister from another mister. You know what I'm saying? It was never like that. Shit, let a Hispanic person say nigga in my high school, I guarantee there probably would have been a fight. Probably. Out here, I ain't really encountered it like that, but it's a few people that say, like, I've heard it. And it's not one of them things where, like, if they drop that word, the whole room get quiet, or niggas get weird, or niggas get, like, shaky. It's natural. It's normal. That's how they grew up. So that's my thing. What I was stating at the beginning of the video, how it's like, how can you judge? How can you critique certain situations when you're not there? You didn't grow up in that element. You didn't grow up in that environment. So how are you trying to be this nigga defender, this the gatekeeper of a word, where you're how are you, who gives you the right to police when you're not growing up around these people in these certain situations? You don't understand the context in which they use the word. I'm pretty sure if it was negative, like, you can feel that. Like people, you can feel the intent behind the words that people use. You can tell if somebody is threatening or not. So if you're casually talking to somebody who's not black, granted, I will say the only people that really don't feel right or sound right saying the word nigga are white people. If we're being honest, it's just white people. That's the only people that I feel as though if you're going to police somebody into not saying a word, it should be white people. That's just what it is. But at the same time, it's like, how can you police somebody on saying a word when you don't know how they grew up? You don't know who they grew up around. You don't, like, where they're from. It may be socially acceptable. Social acceptance is different no matter where you go.
Bite with the little.
This is a guy from Texas saying, listen, man, we don't even need y'all in our business all like that. Like, we grew up with them. You know, they grow up with us. You know, we like family. So why can't they say it? I mean, they've accepted us, so it should be okay. Now, there was a Hispanic guy who brought up some very interesting points.
What I want to speak on is that when it comes to referring to your friends as a Hispanic, you really don't have to use that word. I mean, we have so many other words. We refer to people as pa. We refer to people as my boy, what's cracking, my
vato.
boy. We refer to people as fool, what's up, fool? And esse, vato.
See,
pops. I don't know if
I'm tapped in with the Mexican culture. I'm telling you, those is dope. Like, I fuck with Mexican people mainly because of the food, the birria tacos. I'm saying, I fuck with Mexicans. They make good ass food.
Other cultures use pops. I've only really had my Hispanic homies call me pops. But yeah, we just have so many other phrases that we could use besides that word to refer to our friends.
And a guy said something that was interesting. He says, listen, I mean, like, I'm not here to really comment on if it's right or wrong for him to say whatever he's going to say. That's up to him. But as far as referring to Mexicans or anybody else, there are many terms that...
Yeah, and that's one thing too. Like, if you I'm saying, dealing with black people, like, we're talking about the perspective of a Mexican. If you're dealing with black people and you're talking to them, and like you just having a casual conversation, a nigga, like, like in the presence of a black person, I don't really see a problem with that. If they don't have a problem with that, but if you're amongst your own people and y'all just spamming the word nigga, and like it's to the point where it's kind of forced. That's where it's like it's a little weird. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no black people in sight. You're not having this conversation with a black person. It's just a whole bunch of Mexicans having a conversation about something, and they just nigga this, nigga that, and you spamming the word. Don't be a word spammer, because then that's where it sounds crazy. You know?
That we could use to basically distinguish ourselves. We have many different ways to show we are friends. Like, we don't need to use that word because in our slang, we have many different ways to call each other a name. So that's the problem that he has with it. But the person who went and said the most was Sauce Walker.
Oh, hey, man, say, man, I be trying my best to stay out of subjects like this and rant like I used to, but this one really be bothering me. Mexicans, Hispanic people, and the word and people.
I ain't gonna lie, one of my pet peeves is when people say Mexican, like Mexican. It's Mex. Mex. I think it's his grills is too fucking big, so he can't like say the X. So he say Mexicans. But like when I was growing up, like middle school, high school, elementary school, like people would say like Mexican. That's one of my pet peeves. I hate that shit. Not even like I'm not trying to be no Mexican defender, which is nothing wrong with. I just hate when people are illiterate around me and saying not saying a word that like my nigga, it's an X, not an S. So that's a sidebar right there. Just a sidebar.
Using a word that are of Latin descent specifically. Mother said I sound dumb as hell for saying to say that a Mexican or Hispanic person can't say use the word in fellowship is like saying Mexicans telling us we can't eat a taco. We can't eat tacos. The comment said, how can you compare a derogatory racial word to a food? How do you racially disrespect a white person? What do you call them? What is a food, dumbass? What do people call Mexicans?
Hold on, he low key cooking, chat. Let him cook.
When they be disrespecting them, tacos, burritos.
Nah, I ain't never.
I mean, wet food, disrespectful. Racism is racism, no matter how you put it.
Exactly.
And if we're gonna talk about it, are the most disrespectful racist mother on earth. We hate ourselves more than we hate anybody. Wrong. Steal from. Don't support. Don't help others. See 10 in the middle of the street, mother getting ate by a mother grizzly bear and keep running. A white person to jump out and try to fight a Mexican to try to stab them. Don't put out their phone and record you die and suffer for views. But you have the audacity to say that Hispanic people shouldn't say the word.
Boy. And that's kind of where like I agree with bro. I don't know who Sauce Walker is, Sauce Walker, whatever the fuck his name is. I don't know who he is, but he kind of got a point. And this is my thing, but like one of my issues with black culture and black people within who really try to police black culture, right? There's so many problems that we need to fix within ourselves before we worried about who can say a fucking word. Like if the biggest problem that you have in today's society is other races saying the word nigga, you need to like really lock in and like look at the world around you, look at your environment, or maybe you need to get outside your element because you're not seeing the problems enough. There's so many problems that black people are causing to other black people that we shouldn't even be worried about what other races are doing. We need to get our shit together as a people. Fuck who's saying a word. We're killing each other. We're robbing each other. We're stealing from each other. We're setting ourselves back more than that word, the original word could. It's a fucking word. That's one thing that I've learned early since a fucking kid in elementary school. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. A word can't hurt you unless you give it power. So by you sitting here telling people what they can and can't say, you're empowering them to want to do it more. There's other shit that we need to shift our attention to. This is not a big deal.
Why you don't sit your stupid ass down? Who the f you think you is?
But wait, it gets worse.
Second of all, the word has already been converted into a word of love, a word of companionship, a word of brotherhood, fellowship. It's not been a derogatory racist word in so long. Yes.
Nah, I feel like the word is whatever you choose it to be. Like I said, everything you say has intention. If I don't give a fuck who you are. You could be a high IQ person, low IQ person. You can tell if somebody is speaking to you with negative intention. You can tell if somebody's intentions are pure. If they meant wrong or if they meant harm, you can feel that. You can sense that. You can hear that. So the word is whatever the person is using it to be. Honestly, that's what it is. So in that moment, you just need to be smart enough to realize, oh, this nigga is being racist. He's being racist, point blank period. Or he means no harm. This is probably how he grew up. He probably grew up around black people that allowed him to say it, and now he's saying it. As long as he don't sound crazy saying it, what is the problem?
Coming out of a certain white person's mouth in a certain way, yes, man, feel more disrespected than for a white person calling you a boy. So at the end of the, like, some real shit, y'all be doing that shit for the internet, and I hate this shit, bro, because y'all don't really give a about. That's the part that irks my soul the most. And then, how disrespect the Asian person? What they call them? Fried rice, egg, same. So don't ever say that comparing it to food is not the same. Yes, it is, you dumbass. You the dumbass, idiot. I love Hispanic, anime, Japanese, Chinese. I love all people. People need to love people. Yes,
Facts.
we have been done wrong, but a lot of people have been done wrong as well. Yes, we have not got our reparations and our blessings back for what we have been through in this world. But when you talk about Hispanic people, I feel a certain type of way, because why? Hispanic people built America just like we built America. America was built on the blood of Hispanics just like it was built on the blood of the black man and the Indian man. So at the end of the day, all that is bullshit.
And this nigga is not telling no lies. He's not telling any lies at this current moment.
And it's y'all for that dumbass systematical racism that make us hate each other. I understand that dumb that going to California, how they feel and all that, and that's dumb in a bitch too. Because right now everybody should be supporting Hispanics that have came over to America and helped build this country and ain't did nothing wrong to you.
Now, Sauce Walka is saying, listen, we do this to ourselves. You know, we're the ones out here. You know, they built this country along with us and all of that. Like, this is the case that he's trying to make for himself. Again, selling out, right? But check out what the Afro Latina sister says.
We wouldn't go up to his people and his family and be like, oh, son mojados, which means. So why are you in a room of black people saying the N-word so comfortably? And then you know you're wrong because you're like, oh, well, what are they going to do about it?
Yeah, that's the only part I didn't like. You know what I'm saying? Because that's like, it's kind of like it's like a threat, like a threatening, what the fuck is that word? Where they say it's not a threat, it's a, nah, not even that. But it's just like a threatening way that he went about it. Fuck, there's no elaborate term for it. Fuck you. Anyways, for him to just sit there and say, oh, that's kind of like say, even if I didn't have the approval to say it, who gonna check me? And it's kind of like, you shouldn't, if you feel as though that you okay saying a word, then you shouldn't have to be prepared to defend yourself against anybody. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to prove yourself to anybody. If you truly feel comfortable with the way that you were raised, the people who you were raised around, like he said, he grew up fighting with them, loving with them, like doing bad shit with them, whatever the fuck he said. If you feel comfortable in that, and like, you know what I'm saying, in that upbringing, your upbringing, then why do you gotta go and say who's gonna do something about it? As if like it's just like you trying to be tough. Like you trying to be tough, and it's kind of like, why? It's unnecessary.
Now, she said something that's very interesting. She says, you can't go to their community and use a term like wet bee, okay? You can't say that. Now, while you're letting them say...
And then on top of that, that's stupid because wet bee is literally, that's a derogative slur. Like, that's like saying, what's up, my wet bee? And then they're saying, what's up, my ER? That's what that is. So if you, why in what planet would you go feel comfortable going up to a different race, knowing their derogatory slur, and then saying that? They're saying nigga, the word that we you know what I'm saying, reclaimed and reverbished and changed to now it's a socially acceptable term depending on where you go and who you talk to. It's not a racial slur. So you're trying to compare a literal racial slur. Now, if it would be different if Mexicans took that word and created an iteration of it that they say amongst themselves that's not really bad to them. You know what I'm saying? It's not used in a bad light. And if black people were to start using that, then we can have that comparison conversation, because then that would make more sense. But the word that she just used, like wet bee, that's like going slur for slur. Why are we going band for band with racism? That's not what this is. You know what I'm saying?
Say the N-word, you know better than to go over there and call them that, right? And even though the N-word can be used as a term of endearment from people in our community, you could never use the term wet bee as a term of endearment, because that will cost you maybe your life over there. And that's the point that she's trying to make. Like, we're accepting disparity from other groups. They would never let you get away with that. And that's the whole problem with black people. We like to allow people to do stuff to us, but if we were to call them the same thing that is negative, they'd have a problem with it.
Nigga is not negative.
The black
it depends
and brown
on how you use
coalition
it.
is whatever it's supposed to be called. It's at a rocks right now, or it doesn't exist right now, because we allow this particular group to do whatever they feel like doing, and we don't put no parameters on them, but they put all the parameters on us. Even when you go to jail, when the blacks or Hispanics in jail, blacks don't like snitching, right? But the Hispanics can snitch on blacks. They can't snitch on each other, but they can snitch on blacks.
My nigga, we are civilians. You are a civilian. The jail politics, prison politics, gang politics, they don't apply to civilians. So what the fuck is he talking about? That makes no sense at all. This is a bad take. This is a very, very, very bad take.
Blacks. So we're already not playing fair. So how often can you compete with a group that's not playing fair with you, but you're allowing them to come into your culture, into your community, you know, and basically steal some of your style to do whatever they want to do, and you're down bad.
So is the problem him saying nigga, or is the problem him being like they say a culture vulture? Like is the culture, what is it, a culture appropriator or appropriation or some shit like that? Is that the issue, or is the issue with him saying nigga? Because I'm getting confused now. We're talking about different things. You know what I'm saying, culture stealing or swagger jacking, you know what I'm saying? That shit has always been a thing. You cannot stop that. Like, that's one thing that you have to accept as a black person or as a black people. We are the trend of the world. Whatever you know what I'm saying, we do, other races can't help but find that shit to be just fascinating, that they want to do it too. You want to police every single trend, every single thing that we do. You want everything that we do to be exclusive. That's just not that's not common sensely reasonable. If I use that term the right way. You know what I'm saying? It's just you gotta be aware that the power that we have as a people and the influence that we have as a people. Niggas are gonna want to say nigga just because they hear us saying it and it sound cool when we say it. So they want to say it too. And some people, I'm not saying to just go out your way and say it because it sounds cool. That's weird. But some people are genuinely saying it because they grew up in an environment that allowed them to do so. So you expect a person who grew up, I want to say 18 to 20 years of their life saying a word. You know what I'm saying? Naturally, you run into somebody else, you want them to undo 18 to 20 years of their life, 18 to 20 years of their vocabulary. Granted, if you can't add more diction to your vocabulary, that's a bigger problem at hand. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying, I have a nice, decent vocabulary, but I still say nigga. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's just that's how I was raised. That's how I communicated with my people back home. It happens.
At this point, like, blacks gotta kind of really wake up. Like, at what point do you wake up and to say, listen, hey, we can be friends, we can be family, but
that's one thing I find more offensive than the word nigga. I hate when people say blacks. When the clip he said here, I'd be offended if somebody called me boy. You know what I'm saying? If somebody was to call me boy or blacks, I don't like the term blacks. Nobody is black. I'm a dark-skinned man myself, but one thing that like grinds my gears, you know what I'm saying? One thing that, you know what I'm saying, that infuriates me is when a person calls you black. My nigga, this is the color black. You see what this shirt I got, this is black. So for him to say blacks, I don't like when people try to refer to people as blacks. I don't like when people try to refer to you as boy. Anything that I feel is undermining. That's the real, you know what I'm saying, slept on racism right there, or the covered racism, if we're being honest. You know You know what I'm saying? A Mexican person saying nigga because they grew up around a whole bunch of black people that allowed them to do so is not the issue that we should be focusing on. It's really not. But that's the gist of the video. It's your boy Rushmore Rick. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think anybody should have the right to say nigga? Do you think that we should gatekeep the word? And if you do, how realistically you gonna fly to every state and make sure niggas ain't saying nigga? Let's be real. Next video, we out of here. Peace.